Liu Kang wakes up before dawn, coughing from the cold, and the first thing he thinks about isn't glory or prophecy, it's responsibility. He's quieter here than you'd expect from a man who just saved the world. His face carries the kind of tired optimism people get after surviving something insane. That's our hook. A hero trying not to let the weight of everything crush the few people he cares about. The movie opens with him training in a sparse courtyard with Kung Lao and the new recruits trying to turn raw talent into discipline. Cole Young, who spent the last film figuring out what being marked for Mortal Kombat means, is still the newcomer, awkward and intense, but getting better. Sonya Blade runs drills with Jax, and she's as blunt as ever. No one's getting a participation trophy. The film spends these early minutes re-establishing who the team is, their scars and jokes, and how bad the world feels now that Outworld's threat hasn't exactly vanished. The performances lean into the idea that adrenaline carries you only so far. Then real life, bills, broken friendships, and late-night worries, comes knocking. Small, human stuff. Good contrast before the universe throws bigger monsters at them. That bigger problem arrives fast. Outworld's not healing, it's expanding. Raiden senses a pattern of incursions, nightmarish rifts that have started appearing like bad weather. Villages on Earthrealm begin to vanish, swallowed in flashes of green. The film uses that creeping dread well. Those scenes where people blink and whole blocks are gone are quietly terrifying. Mei Lin, a young fighter from a border town the team visits, shows them the aftermath and her dogged hope. She becomes a minor but memorable point-of-view character, someone who humanizes the stakes. The writing here is good at balancing spectacle with small grief, which keeps the action grounded. Back in the capital of Outworld, we meet the real puppet master, Shao Kahn, who's returned with more than a hammer and a bad temper. He's not just big boss guy this time. He's manipulative and prepared to play the long game. He's assembled an odd council, Kitana, conflicted and fierce, Mileena, brutal and unstable, Baraka, predictably aggressive, and a twist. Shang Tsung's influence lingers, even if he's not physically present in the same way. The movie smartly leans into political theater. Shao Kahn doesn't just want tournaments, he wants legitimacy. That whole arc gives the film an old-school Mortal Kombat vibe while modernizing motivations, conquest dressed in diplomacy. The team attempts diplomacy which goes about as well as you expect. Kano is still a wild card, selfish, irreverent, and somehow charming even when he's cheating. But this time his choices matter in ways that make the film suspenseful beyond the fights. Sonya tracks a series of raids back to a black market arena in an eastern city, and that's where the movie gives us one of its best set pieces. Underground fighting, neon lights, and the mixture of brutality and showmanship that Mortal Kombat does really well. There are cameos and throwaway wins that'll make franchise fans cheer, but the point of the scene is to force our heroes to lose some certainty. Cole almost dies in that arena. He's saved by Liu Kang but not without cost. That moment cements Cole's growth. He's not just a kid marked for a destiny. He's a fighter who's learning what to lose and what to fight for. There's a quieter, emotional subplot with Kung Lao, wrestling with legacy. He's haunted by the weight of his ancestors' crown and his own failures. The film gives him room to breathe and to bond with Cole, who needs mentorship but resists being lectured. Their chemistry is good. They trade barbs, training tips, and occasionally actual punches. It's classic buddy-mentor stuff, and the script treats it like a real relationship rather than a montage shortcut. The middle of the movie piles on revelations. Shao Kahn is orchestrating realm breaches using relics. These artifacts drain life from Earth, opening pathways for Outworld's armies. A side quest of the team is to find one of those relics before it powers up. That thread gives us another highlight. A desert fortress mission that turns into stealth and then chaos. The cinematography here is more adventurous than you'd expect, with sandstorms and collapsing columns. It's a reminder the film can do scale when it wants to. Sub-Zero and Scorpion make their presences felt in that mission. There's a tense, emotional reunion with Scorpion that's handled well. His arc of vengeance versus redemption is threaded through the plot without derailing the main beats. Meanwhile, the film doesn't forget to build stakes through personal sacrifice. Sonya faces a choice between capturing a high-value target and rescuing civilians. She chooses the latter. That choice hurts her career trajectory in the short term, but deepens her bond with the team. Jax, who's partially cybernetic, has a brief but effective subplot about what it means to be human when machines are eating away at your sense of self. He's one of the few characters who gets a quiet, humanizing beat where he watches an old family video, and we see a man remembering his softer edges. These moments make the characters more than action figures. The political machinations in Outworld escalate. Kitana's loyalties are complicated. She's an outsider wanting peace for her people, but she's also tired of being used as a pawn. Her conversations with Liu Kang are some of the film's best exchanges. She's not a prize to be won, and he's not a messianic hero. They're both fighters trying to keep their sense of right inside a rotten game. That relationship adds a romantic tension the movie earns slowly. It never feels forced. There's also an emotionally messy duel between Mileena and Kitana that's brutal and heartbreaking, because the two were once tied by something deeper than politics. The tournament build is classic Mortal Kombat. Arenas picked, rules bent, and an undercurrent of inevitability. The differences this film brings are twofold. First, the tournament isn't the whole movie. There's an espionage arc, a rescue mission, and a ticking clock around those relics. Second, the fights are structured to reveal character, not just choreography. For instance, when Cole fights a shapeshifter who mimics his own style, it's less about flashy moves and more about him confronting fear, literally fighting himself. That's a nice touch. The action choreography throughout is crisp, fast cuts, clear geography, and a few signature slow-motion punches to emphasize pain that registers. The director wisely keeps gore rated and too dark for no reason. The brutality is present and impactful, not just shock value. The sound design gets a special mention. Every bone crunch, wind gust, and magical hum is layered and satisfying, which matters in a fighting movie where tactile feel sells stakes. At the core of the third act is the revelation that Shao Kahn's real plan isn't merely conquest. It's rewriting the rules of Mortal Kombat itself. He's trying to remove the tournament's constraints so Outworld can invade unchecked. Shang Tsung's spirit, imprisoned and bitter, manipulates those around him to break the seals. That gives the final confrontations extra weight. It's no longer just a fight to win the next match. It's a fight to preserve reality's structure. The climactic battles are staged across multiple fronts. Sonya and Jax defend the artifacts from a stealth squad of Tarkatown warriors. Sub-Zero confronts a resurrected rival in a quick, cool duel that pays off long simmering tension. Cole and Liu Kang end up in the final ring with Shao Kahn looming like a weather pattern. What's smart here is the way the film keeps switching focus. You feel the team's losses as much as their triumphs. If cinematography has a heartbeat, it's fastest in those final sequences. Wide shots for scope, tight frames for intimacy. Liu Kang's final showdown with Shao Kahn is emotionally satisfying because it's about more than a new move or a cheat code. He's not just harnessing power. He's making a choice about what kind of protector he wants to be. There's a clever bit where Liu Kang channels the collective strength of Earthrealm fighters, people he's inspired and trained, and it's portrayed as a community effort rather than mystical hand-waving. That community angle paid off emotionally. It's the difference between a hero who wins alone and a leader who inspires people to fight for their world. Cole's arc finishes on a quieter note. He survives, of course, but he moves from being reactive to proactive. He has a small, human moment after the final battle where he admits to Kung Lao he misses being ordinary. Kung Lao's reply is somewhere between teasing and tender. Normal is overrated. It's a good, simple beat that grounds an otherwise epic finale. The movie doesn't tie every thread neatly. That's deliberate. There's a final scene where Kitana returns to Outworld to claim her place, not as a puppet, but as a potential reformer. And Shao Kahn's last word suggests he's not entirely gone. A side character gets an ominous wink, setting up future trouble. The film earns that sequel bait because it leaves us invested in the characters and the world, not just dangling one-liners. Tone-wise, Mortal Kombat 2 nails a tricky balance. It's heavier than the first movie in parts, but it still makes room for jokes, often low-key, often delivered under stress. Kane's wisecracks break tension without undercutting loss. Sonya's impatience is funny because it's rooted in competence. The humor mostly lands when it emerges from character, not from forced quips. There are a few missteps. The pacing in the second act drags a little. Some filler scenes could have been tighter, and a couple of side villains feel underdeveloped. Also, when the film leans into large-scale spectacle, some emotional beats get rushed. But those are quibbles against a movie that otherwise respects its cast and source material. Visually, the film grows more confident. Outworld feels lived in now. Markets, ruined palaces, and battered soldiers give the invasion stakes a texture beyond polygonal set pieces. Costume design and practical effects are strong. The Tarkatans look gruesome but real, and the elemental magic effects are pleasingly tactile instead of ethereal CGI soup. By the credits, the team has changed. Some are scarred, some have left, some have stepped into leadership. Cole's not the same confused guy you met at the start. Liu Kang is less a distant myth and more of a leader who learns as he goes. Sonya is both wounded and unbowed. Kitana becomes a wild card with agency. The film closes on a hopeful but watchful note. Peace for now, vigilance for the future, which is exactly the tone you want from a franchise with many more fights in its future. If you like your action movies with heart, a little politics, and a lot of punching, this one will scratch an itch. It respects fans by honoring classic character beats while giving newcomers emotional hooks to latch onto. There's room to nitpick, but when the fighting's good, the stakes feel real, and the characters matter, those are the wins that stick. So yeah, leave your expectations at the door a little. Come for the nostalgia, stay for the people, and enjoy the ride. Mortal Kombat 2 is loud, occasionally messy, and unexpectedly thoughtful when it wants to be. And if you're like me, you'll leave wanting the next chapter. After all, when realms are on the line, there's always another match.